What is going on, everyone? Welcome to another very exciting episode right here on the My Gardener channel. I am really excited about today's episode because we're going to be starting seeds, and I'm going to be walking you guys through how to start seeds for hydroponics. Now, we are obviously in the indoor grow room. That means that we are starting officially the indoor gardening season. I could not be more excited because we have a lot of things planned. We have a lot of exciting new things to show, as well as old things that I want to elaborate on and kind of just bring you guys up to speed on and really help to motivate, encourage, and inspire you all to grow a garden 365 days a year, regardless if it's outdoors or indoors. And so this indoor gardening series is something that I've really been looking forward to. The past couple weeks has been absolutely chaos. I had to get this place all cleaned up. As you can see, hold your applause, it's clean. So from 8 in the morning till about 8 at night, I spent about 12 solid hours cleaning up the grow room, getting it ready. I'm really happy with how it looks. It's about as clean as it's ever been. And that way it's showroom perfect for all you guys to grow some beautiful plants and get the garden growing. Now, obviously, this is not my forte. I don't grow indoors professionally. This is just kind of a hobby thing for me. So there's a lot of stuff that I do that, the professionals always kind of talk on and poo-poo on because I'm not a professional. I don't do this professionally. And I also am growing like lettuce and herbs and cucumbers and tomatoes. I'm not growing other things. And so there's a lot of things that the industry that this was kind of built for doesn't really prescribe to with my methods, and that's perfectly fine too. But what I'm really getting at is that I want you all to just enjoy what we do here in this indoor gardening series. I want you to take what we do, and if it works for you, use it. And just like we do outside, I always say this, it's not a one-size-fits-all solution. I've had a lot of success doing these things indoors, just kind of absorbing information from other people that have had success, and I've found success with it as well, and that's kind of what I've come to know and use, and that's kind of how I grow. So if you hear things from someone else, that's perfectly fine too. Just remember that there's more than one way to find success. All right, so we're ready to start our seeds. Are you excited? I absolutely am. Let's get going. What are we gonna start today? Well, we're gonna be starting some Salanova lettuce. I absolutely love Salanova lettuce. Now, it's not an heirloom lettuce. This is a hybrid, but I like growing it because it grows really quickly indoors. I have grown heirloom lettuces and I've enjoyed them as well, but for head lettuce, I really enjoy the Salanova lettuce from Johnny's. But if you are into heirloom lettuce, we do have some over at mygardener.com, or obviously just pick from your favorite seed supplier. They will grow just the same. It's just if I'm growing for heads, like I am here indoors, I like growing a head lettuce rather than leaf lettuce like I would grow outside. It's just I have more space outside. I can plant them more densely. In here, I'm growing pretty much one plant per container, if you will. And so it's easier to grow for a head indoors for me. I am also going to be using some test strips, by the way. You probably see these over here and are wondering what those are. I'm gonna use some pH test strips just to make sure that the pH is slightly acidic. That's what those are for. But I'm pretty much gonna be growing exclusively a salad today. I do have some yellow zucchini. Really excited about that. That's something that I've really wanted to grow for a long time indoors and just see what happens. And then I don't have with me, but I will be getting really soon, some basil. We really go through a lot of basil here in our house, and so we're gonna be growing some Italian large leaf basil. I gotta get seeds for that. mygardener.com is where we're getting those, but I just don't have them with me right now. And then we're also gonna be growing some kale. I might also try growing a few cucumbers as well, some Space Master cucumbers, but really what we try to focus on in our garden is highly productive stuff, stuff that's very expensive, or stuff that is not very good quality this time of year. Prime example is you can go to the grocery store and you can get mangoes because we can't grow them here in Michigan. But when it comes to lettuce, if lettuce is in season, we're gonna be getting it out of our garden or the farmer's market. But when it's out of season, we're forced to go to the grocery store for something that is knowingly inferior. A mango is a treat because, well, let's face it, you can't grow a mango here anyways, even if you wanted to. Well, it'd be really difficult to, but that's not my point. It's out of the region where it can even feasibly grow. So when it comes to lettuce, Well, lettuce doesn't really grow here this time of year, unless of course you have like a heated greenhouse or like a cold frame, high tunnel, stuff like that. It takes a lot of effort, a lot of infrastructure to grow lettuce throughout the cold winter months here in Michigan. So we have to go to the grocery store. And unfortunately, the grocery store is selling a lot of stuff that has E. coli and salmonella, and that's why you see all those outbreaks and recalls, and people are paralyzed with fear because that's stuff you just don't mess around with. And so when it comes to stuff that we grow, high output, stuff like tomatoes, cucumbers, peppers, herbs, those are really good stuff because you plant one, you can keep harvesting it time and time again as long as it continues growing. And with lettuce, it's just safer. I like it because it's fresher and it's safer than the alternative at the grocery store. So I know what it's being grown in and what's being sprayed on it, which is nothing. And I know what it's being grown in, which is just a simple hydroponic solution. So feel really safe eating this stuff and feeding my family with it. So now it comes to how to start the seeds. I want to show you guys 2 ways to start the seeds. There's a couple different methods here that I have, and one of them is the traditional rock wool. This is just glass that's been spun around and around and around really tightly, forms a lot of surface area, and it creates a really wonderful growing medium for plants. It drains well, gives good aeration. It basically acts just like soil, only there's no soil in it whatsoever. Really love this, and this is what the professionals use. However, this can be very expensive. And so what I found is a really good alternative. Coming in close, I'll show you what I do to start my seeds. And then basically, once the seeds are started, this rock wool, you can start a seed and basically allow it to grow its full life in this rock wool. You just basically take this plug, put it into a net cup, and the net cup basically just holds it in place so that the roots can go down into the growing solution, in the growing medium, which is your hydroponic solution. And so this is kind of the container that it grows in. However, there's another alternative that's much cheaper, but for smaller, finickier plants like lettuce, it can be a little bit tricky. So for lettuce, I will grow with rock wool. For seeds like squash, I will grow preferably with this method that I'm going to show you. This method is actually, it's commonly called the Petri dish method. Really love this because bigger seeds just do not fit really well in the rock wool. They're bulky, they don't sprout very well, and they just aren't made for bigger seeds. All right, so here's one that I've already completed. As you can see, it's super simple. It's basically like a Petri dish. All we do is we take these little plastic containers. They use these in the food service industry for like condiments. You can get these pretty cheap online. Like we're talking a pack of 100 of them for like $2. Really inexpensive. And these are awesome. They're reusable and they're very, very reliable. So all we do is we just take some paper towel. I like to take a nice kind of a double layered sheet of it, just to get some good, some really good material in here that's going to hold the seeds well. Then I'll take some water and I just set my paper towel in here, allow it to soak up. And then what I do is I just push it down. Just push it down. Anything that's riding up the edge, I'll just push it down in the center of the cup there, just like that. And then I'll just dump out any excess water. And now you have what's called a Petri dish method. Very simple. All we do is we take our seeds, take 2, 3, 4 seeds, however many you want, stick them in there. And this is just like a paper towel method for sprouting seeds in like a Ziploc baggie, only it's way easier to work with than a Ziploc baggie. You can see them just the same. It allows the same amount of humidity, but it also doesn't crush the seeds flat like in a Ziploc bag. You know, when they're in a Ziploc bag, they're like this. Basically, well, they're like this. So if they're inside of a Ziploc bag, there's really no way for the seeds to really grow well. Whereas with these, the seeds can sprout and then they can actually start turning up towards the light and getting a nice strengthened stem, which is why I really love this method. Awesome, awesome method. Now the water we're using is actually a tiny bit of grow solution. This is just an all-purpose hydroponic mix, and it is basically a 15, 12, 10 when it comes to the NPK. Now when it comes to sprouting with rock wool, all we do is the exact same. All we're going to do is just take, whoopsie, trying to spill it all, but we're just going to take some water, some grow solution, I should say, and soak down the cubes. And once the cubes are really nice and soaked, we can go ahead and plant our seeds. What we're going to be using for lettuce is pelletized seed. I get a lot of questions about pelletized seed. A lot of people are afraid of using it. A lot of people are worried that it's not organic, and that's just not true. Pelletized seed isn't always organic, but you can get it organic. You just have to do your research and ask around, and you can find pelletized seed that's organic. And also, no, it's not GMO, or it isn't always GMO. Pelletized seed could be GMO if you bought a GMO seed, but if you're buying from a reputable source, any open pollinated or heirloom seed can also be pelletized. And so when it comes to pelletized seed, all this is just clay. They dampen the seed in some water, and then they roll it in some dry clay. That dry clay sticks to the damp seed, and then they spray some more water on it, and then it picks up more dry clay, and that powder basically just keeps building up just like you would with a snowball. The snowball starts out small, and as you keep rolling it through more material, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. This tiny little pebble could be an inch in diameter if they kept doing it. And that's all it is just clay. And that clay gives it a really good, it gives you a really good grasp on the seed rather than using seed that is super small like this. This can be very difficult to handle because it's individual little seeds. That is very, very tricky to hold on to and to put just one seed into each hole. So, obviously got some different options here, but I really do like using the pelletized seed because there's, a hole that you need to aim for in the center of each rock wool cube. And rather than spilling seed everywhere, it's just way easier to use pelletized seed when I'm growing inside. So I'll grow with that. So the next thing I'm going to do is, once I get all these seeds in here, I'm going to simply cover them up with another lid, and that's going to act as not only a way to block out the light because seeds germinate better in the darkness, but it's also going to hold in that humidity. Very, very important for seed germination, especially when it's on a heat mat. You get a lot of heat underneath the seeds. That'll help evaporate. So by putting a lid on top or some cellophane or something to act as kind of a greenhouse cover, that's really going to help to make sure that seeds don't dry out, which is very important to ensuring good germination rates. And the final thing left to do is just put them underneath our grow light here. So we do have the heat mat turned on. It's nice and warm. It's heated up to about 85 degrees. Great temperature for germinating lettuce and squash alike. So really nice and warm. I'm just going to take my flat and put it underneath the heat mat there. I'm going to take my my Petri dish method squash, put them in there as well. And there we go. I'm going to start a couple just to make sure I have enough to have a good couple healthy plants. So I have another one there of some squash. Those are off to the races. And all we have left to do now is just put a cover on this. Now, this light is on right now. However, what I want to do is put this on a timer. I have it hooked up to a timer here. It's going to come on for 16 hours, and it's going to go off for 8. That's a really good amount of time for this type of grow light, but based on the strength, we have some videos on grow lights, but pretty much based on the strength of this grow light, any more, you're really not going to have a whole lot of benefit. Any less, and you're going to have some laggy seedlings. So, like I said, 16 hours on, 8 hours off is the timer. That's how the timer is set, and so that's really going to give them a good amount of light for them to start growing in. And I won't transplant them until after about 2 or 3 weeks. They're going to get about this tall in this system here before I transplant them, and that way they have a really good root system and good root development to move into the hydroponic solution. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you learned something new. If you have any questions, make sure to post them in the comments box below. I really do love getting back into this and getting videos out to you guys. And so if you did enjoy this video, make sure to throw a like up there. We're gonna have a lot more content coming out, so stay tuned. And if the weather's nice, we'll also be out in the garden talking about some different things with gardening and soil prep and soil conservation and different things that don't really involve plants because, well, there's nothing really growing outside right now. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Have a very Merry Christmas, and we'll talk to you all later. See ya.